What's up, guys? I hope you all had a happy holiday season. This is saying welcome back. And it is time to finish off the series I've been doing for about 5 months now. Ranking all the types, and also starters, and I also did Paldea Pokemon as well. So this list is going to be of the best. The best of every, I guess, video I've made so far. The ones I've put at the top. With a couple exceptions that I thought I should throw in there because it was such like a close call between some of the videos. And we're gonna rank these and see who the actual best Nuzlocke Pokemon of all time is. And let's do it. So I want to mention I do have Skeledirge Fuecoco, who is the best Scarlet and Violet Nuzlocke Pokemon by far. Is definitely Fuecoco. Without question, yeah. So he is on here, and then I've got all the types, and I did this in order of the videos. So we got Fire, Fighting, Psychic, Dragon, Ghost, Bug, Steel, Grass, the starters. I took a little break into the starters, and we went to Dark, Electric, Fairy, Ice, Rock, Ground, Poison, Water, Flying, Normal, and then ended it off with a Paldean Pokemon. So let's go through the tiers. We only have the C tier. The C tier is the lowest I could possibly think to go, because these are all really good Pokemon. So the good tier, the great tier, the amazing tier, and the game-breaking tier. And then the number one will end up as the Nuzlocke GOAT. So let's start it. Arcanine is a great place to start too, because Arcanine is still holds up as amazing from Gen 1. It's the fact of Intimidate, fire types are rare, the moveset is great. So all you need is your Fire Stab of like Flamethrower or Flare Blitz. And you've got things like Snarl, Will-O-Wisp for like defensive coverage. Extreme speed is just such a big deal. This thing has the stats of a legendary Pokemon pretty much. This thing is basically like a Zapdos. It literally was designed to be like Zapdos level strength, and it holds up, and Intimidate's like the best ability ever. So the best common ability you can possibly get in a Nuzlocke. So starting off A tier, Lilligant. So this is Hisuian Lilligant from Legends Arceus, and is definitely game-breaking. Without a doubt game-breaking. Victory Dance in that game is an Omni boost, pretty much, except for your special attack. It is an Omni boost, but it also, like, it increases your attack, and it also increases the damage you do, or, like, doubles the power of your next move damage. It's something funny. It's super, like, cheesy and broken in Legends Arceus itself, so definitely a game-breaking Pokemon. You just Victory Dance up and Drain Punch and just like win. You just win with this Pokemon. Starmie, I think, is just in great. It's good bulky, like pretty bulky, has a ton of amazing coverage, has recover. It just doesn't do. It doesn't just trivialize your run like a lot of these other Pokemon do. Even something like Arcanine does more just because of Intimidate and the overall stats, like everything. Like Arcanine has good stats and every stat is good. Every single stat is good. And Starmie's like, it's really good. Every Pokemon on this list is really good, but comparatively to the rest, it just offers you really good coverage, and recover is nice to have on a semi-bulky offensive water type. But that's kind of it. Dragapult is so the real king of the dragon type tier list was Como, but Dragapult was the like right there with it. I was saying like it's one of these two is like the king, and Dragapult just has really early Dragon Dance and Baton Pass. It evolves late, but all dragon types evolve late, so it's like not that much of an issue, honestly. I think just Dragon Dance, Baton Pass, you can sweep, and then once you're no longer in the position to sweep anymore, you can just pass it off to the next one, and that's so strong. Also, Dragon Ghost typing is super good, but Como was just better for general, like earlier Dragon Dance, crazy bulk. The other setup stuff it has, like Scale Shot, you can lower your defense but then get more speed. It just kind of has everything. It has like Iron Defense too. It has like every single setup move ever. So it's just like, pick your poison. What do you need for this scenario? You're gonna sweep somehow. I almost put it game breaking, but I think the quad weakness, the late evolution, and not just an Omni boost, let me put it down there. Hold it down into at least A tier. Mimikyu is, I mean, Disguise just gives you a free hit. It basically has a Focus Sash built in, and until like you're playing Gen 8 when they changed Disguise, like in Gen 7, you can run Disguise and a Focus Sash and just take 2 hits for literal free. The typing is fantastic. You have really good setup. You're fast. You can use Trick Room. I think there's just so much to this Pokemon that it deserves A tier. Shedinja, okay. Shedinja is like the most game-breaking Pokemon ever. It just doesn't take damage unless it's super effective, and it's so easy to play around. Just as long as you're not playing blind. So the only reason you ever lose a Nuzlocke with Shedinja, or lose your Shedinja, is if you intentionally choose to play blind and not research. But even then, like, you can just kind of guess sometimes that a Pokemon will have a move. It's just too simple. It's too simple to break the game. So this Pokemon is easily game breaking. Heracross, I think it's just in B. The reason why Heracross is at the top of the bug list was because of how early you can get it and how just monstrous it is early game, with its amazing offenses and, you know, sweeping potential, which does hold up late game. And no matter what game you're playing, Heracross will always be an amazing attacker. But that's kind of it. That's kind of what it is. It's just an attacker. It's like not super bulky. It doesn't really do all the other crazy things for your team. And like, it can be, you know, overshadowed late game. It's just like the early carry potential it had. Other two in Bug that I thought about, so these two were the runner-ups for both Bug and Steel. And when I say runner-ups, like, they were, like, if I would have put 3, or just, like, if I said, like, Heracross is the best Bug, but if someone said Caesar or Escavalier, I was like, that's more than correct. So these guys are also, I think, in just a B. The Bug Steel typing is just incredible. They can set up and sweep, like, Swords Dance. We've got Bullet Punch on Caesar to not really worry about speed and Technician. And then Escavalier is just super crazy bulky and hits even harder. It's a little slower, but that's, I mean, just with the defensive typing, you're fine. Just don't fight a fire type, and you literally can beat anything else. And honestly, I feel like I should have put these above Heracross. I definitely should have in the bug list. So, but I think they're still just gonna go B. They're not super game breaking, but I would put them at like the top of B, kind of thing like this. Maybe something like that. Excadrill, though, I think is A tier. The offensive and defensive typing of being a steel type with, you know, ground having that immunity, and, you know, the ground offenses with monstrous attack stat, either like Mold Breaker to get through Levitates, or Sand Rush, which is just so crazy, just become a crazy sweeper. And you can even Swords Dance up and just go crazy. Like, the thing is somewhat frail, but because it's a steel type, it isn't really, because it just has so many resistances, so it has so many opportunities to switch in or stay in a setup, and just goes crazy. Just goes absolutely crazy. So for the grass types, obviously Lilligant was on there, but outside of Lilligant, we did have Breloom and normal Lilligant, and I think they're both just B. Breloom is kind of like Heracross in the case of super early game. Really high attack. Technician Mach Punch just kind of carries through. Technician Bullet Punch will carry. Poison Heal sets are also good. Effect Spore, even if it has a Effect Spore, it still has 130 attack, and it's just so much damage. And it's one of the better ways to get Spore at not like super duper, or by like the Elite Four kind of timing. It's a great setup Pokemon. There's just a lot it can do. And Lilligant is just Quiver Dance. Quiver Dance own Tempo Petal Blizzard is just like really good grass type sweeper. But it does take a little bit of setup, so that's why I personally think Breloom might be a little bit better, but also special grass types might be better too, just because of like Giga Drain. So these two are fighting for it, but they're just good Pokemon. That's kind of all it is. They're just really good Pokemon. These could even honestly come down to the C tier. And I think they will. I think they will. In terms of Nuzlocke, it's just like, when you need the grass type, these guys are really good. So when I did the starter list, I picked one starter of each type, and funny enough, Sinnoh won most of it. And I think Infernape is A tier. Just the offensive power of this Pokemon is, like, firefighting offensively is just so good. It's so fast. It's so strong. It's frail, but it's fine because it's gonna one-shot most things, and you just like switch out when you're scared. Like, it's pretty easy to use, and it gets like Power Up Punch and things like in Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, so it can start sweeping even like super stupid early, like level 14. You're sweeping things. It does get like nasty plot, I think, in like some games, but honestly, it doesn't even really need setup, and it just gets really crazy moves. It gets like stealth rock for no reason, so you can lead that if in case you need that kind of like wall breaking. Like Infernape can sweep through a team if you just need that extra little chip for something. If you do the calcs, you just kind of assume it has stealth rock, so there you go. It just has random good moves. Torterra is, I think, down here in C tier. I do think it's the best grass starter, and it's really good. I mean, like having the crazy bulk, really early earthquake, curse, and Swords Dance and Rock Polish. I can't remember if it has Swords Dance or not, but like Curse and Rock Polish and all these ways to sweep, and Leech Seed. It's a really good wall, and Sweeper, really good grass type. Honestly, I can't remember the reason why I didn't put it at the top of the grass types, because I think it's just as good as the other guys. And Swampert is probably the best starter. I think it's still the best starter, if not like the second best starter, because Skeletor is really good too. But Swampert is just good. It has one weakness to grass, which is really easy to deal with, and it's very bulky. It hits hard. It kind of just carries you through. I mean, it carries you through Hoenn. It really does carry you through Hoenn. Watson is a joke. Roxanne's a joke. Winona's easy. Tate and Liza become a lot easier. Steven is pretty free. There's just so many fights. Even like Drake, like there's so many fights that just Swampert just takes care of on his own completely. It's just too easy. So definitely deserves to be up here in A. I don't think it's quite game breaking. This is not game breaking. You know, it doesn't just auto win. I mean, you still have to watch out for like grass types, I guess. And you can't like setup sweep. If you could like setup sweep too, then I'd put it like S tier. Like, yeah. Grimmsnarl, one of the dark typing, and I have it in A because Prankster and those offenses, it just gives it so much flexibility. It can do. You can use it as like Prankster screens, Prankster Thunderwave, or you can use it like Prankster offensively with like bulk up and like getting your defense boost first and kind of ignoring your speed stat. Plus you have like Sucker Punch. And just Dark Fairy offensively is really good, and defensively, honestly, Dark Fairy is just really good and cool typing. That is like super niche, honestly, too. It's a really niche typing that you just won't find anywhere. It's like types you're gonna want most likely, because taking care of late game dragons and late game ghosts and psychics are always there. You just you're just like a Swiss Army knife. He's just a crazy Swiss Army knife. He has very good offenses. Even his special attack is like fine. And really good utility because of just Prankster and all the moves he gets. Galvantula is another C tier here. It won the electric type surprisingly because electric types just really aren't that good Pokemon. It's more just, when you have like having a fast electric type to spam Thunderbolt is really great, but that's kind of all they do. And I think Galvantula is just the best at doing that because it's the fastest and it has like Compound Ice Thunder, which is going to be stronger than any other, electric type Thunderbolt pretty much. And you also have the bug typing, so you're not weak to ground, so you could maybe like stay in and fight a ground type with, or whatever. You're not really gonna fight it, but. And you had like Sticky Webs and Volt Switch at that point, and Struggle Bug to hit like grass types too, so it kind of helps them break through more things. But that's kind of all it is. It's just the electric type for when you need someone to click Thunderbolt or Thunder, and Galvantula can just do that better and also break through some of the walls that it has. Togekiss is almost game breaking. This thing is just a hyper carry once you get it. Its bulk is stupid. Slap like choice specs on it. Even if you have hustle, if you have hustle, which is the worst ability, you can still just run like Aura Sphere and choice specs and stuff. Like even if you miss the move, you're so bulky it doesn't really matter. This thing can set up with things like Calm Mind. I think it gets like Nasty Plot too, Agility if you need the speed, and like Roost on top of the crazy bulk it has. It just has so much random coverage too. Like it can learn like Flamethrower. I already talked about Aura Sphere. Obviously, once it turns Fairy, you have like Dazzling Gleam, and then don't talk about Serene Grace Air Slashes and Serene Grace Flamethrowers for burns and stuff. And Serene Grace has an ability that's just one of the top, without a doubt. I think like Intimidate is probably the best common ability, but Serene Grace is fantastic too. And just everything about Togekiss is just so good. So then for Ice, I had two winners. Galarian Darmanitan, because of the Guerrilla Tactics, is just so crazy, and you have access to choice items in that game, so you can Guerrilla Tactics, which is a choice band, as an ability, and then throw another choice band on and just literally blow through anything. I don't care if it resists. Your stab moves like your Icicle Crash or Ice Punch, and you can also learn like Flare Blitz, like Move Tutor or something. And just Earthquake. You bring this thing in, or you lead it out, and you just start clicking your stab move until you feel like for some reason you won't kill something, which is rare because of this thing's damage output. Or you can do like Choice Scarf and just outspeed everything. It's just one of the craziest sweepers ever. The only downside, the only reason it's not game breaking is you are going to be choice locked, and that's the only way you can use it. Is a choice attacker. Like there is no. If you Zen mode is like a hidden ability. If you somehow got a Zen mode one, then you can like belly drum, I guess, and turn Zen. It's weird. Guerrilla Tactics is the reason this thing is here. Just as a choice sweeper on your team. It's just like nothing takes these hits. Nothing takes these hits. Even resists. And Lapras is honestly an A tier as well because of just the sheer flexibility this thing has. It has really, really good bulk. It has really, really crazy coverage for no reason. Things like Surf, Freeze Dry, Thunderbolt, Psychic. You even have like Perish Song in case there's something really scary. It's the last poke, like the leader's ace. You don't have an answer for it. Perish Song. Good game. Good games. You have like Body Slam too. It's just a crazy, flexible, and it's another Swiss Army knife thing. It's another Swiss Army knife Pokemon. It can just kind of do whatever you want it to, and has just all the coverage that it could ever wish and ask for. And it can even have like Shell Armor and like Water Absorb. So fantastic abilities. It's just such a flexible, universal Pokemon. They also like guarantee, and pretty much most of the games that you get Lapras in, it's a guarantee to counter, which is super, super nice. And great. That's got to give it like a leg over something like Starmie, which is I guess in a somewhat similar spot. Starmie you might not get in your Nuzlocke. You're gonna get Lapras. It's a gift Pokemon most of the time. So for the Rock type video, we had Gigalith and Rhyperior, and I think they're both just great. They're very bulky. Take care of the early game. So Gigalith is the really bulky rock type with Iron Defense that takes care of the early game and a lot of the threats in like Black and White. Like I can't remember the gym, the normal gym, the electric gym both get not trivialized. Well, the normal gym gets trivialized, and the electric gym doesn't get trivialized, but is much easier when you have a Roggenrola. Plus, this thing then gets like Sandstorm later on, and then it becomes especially bulky along with the physical bulk, so it's just absolutely crazy. And Rhyperior is just a stupid sweeper that doesn't die because of Solid Rock. This thing you could Rock Polish for your sweep. You just give it the Rock Polish TM, and then you Rock Slide or Rock Blast and Earthquake and whatever other coverage you want, and it just sweeps through things. It is stupid bulky. And even with like random water, grass type coverage, you have Solid Rock, and so you might live. And more realistically, you're gonna tank things like another Earthquake or a fighting type attack against you, and just blow through things. So really good sweeper, and then really good early game carry that just holds out through the rest of the game. But they're just in B. Gliscor is up here in A. It's one of the best setup Pokemon ever. Sorry, my nose is just like crazy right now, but it's one of the greatest setup Pokemon ever. Ground Flying is super good typing. The only issue with this Pokemon is that it's going to eat up a ton of your TMs. It's going to eat your Roost TM, it's going to eat your Earthquake TM, your Substitute, Swords Dance, Aerial Ace, whatever. It's going to eat those TMs, but it's so worth it because this thing is just super, it's fast, it's strong, it's bulky. All the moves I just said are just free wins into not an Ice type and not a Water type. That's the only thing. Just don't worry. Don't fight the Water Ice types. Don't fight that one gym leader with this Pokemon, and you're good. It's gonna take care of everything else. Drapion won Poison and was also runner-up for Dark. This thing it can be game breaking, but most of the time it's not. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna land it in B. Acupressure is a funny move that can maybe start going crazy. It just gives you a random boost, and sometimes the boost could be a special attack and it does nothing, or sometimes the boost is the speed and you're sweeping, and sometimes the boost is Like it's a big variable, and it's also just kind of you have to like set up for. You have to like the substitute off or put something to sleep, or you have to set up for this sweep, and then kind of just keep clicking acupressure. And it doesn't even always get acupressure. You know, that's like this little variable. Most of the time, it's just like a battle armor, really bulky Pokemon that has a lot of coverage and can sweep and be a really good pivot, which is very valuable. So B, but Poison was kind of one of the types, along with like Electric, that just didn't really have the best Pokemon ever. I mean, Poison's not the greatest type either. Electric's a really good type, but some of the types just don't have the most like amazing just Pokemon. You know, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny looking through this list and being like, wow, you got Dragon with these monsters. Steel's got some really good Pokemon. Even Ice has some amazing Pokemon. And then you look at like Grass, which is a type you figure would be pretty good, and it's just like, yeah, they're all kind of down here. Ignore Lilligant. Electric, same thing. So then on to, what was this? Water, Gyarados 1. Gyarados is game breaking. With Intimidate at that level, like level 20, Intimidate, level 20, free get Magikarp. So Magikarp is free. You always get Magikarp. You always have an Old Rod. You're always getting a Magikarp. And you always have it early game, so it's guaranteed. It's like level 20 is like by the second gym. By every single second gym, you have a Gyarados. And Gyarados in every game will Dragon Dance sweep. And even in Gen 3, 2, 3, 1 through 3, without Water Stab, without like Waterfall, just teach it Return. Just teach it like Secret Power. Just teach it Earthquake. Just give it these simple TMs that you're gonna have, and it's still just gonna do the job well. So even without Stab, it just trivializes the game, really. It beats. You can even beat Electric gyms with Gyarados because it's just you have a Gyarados at that point. Like I've beaten Watson with a Gyarados because I have a Gyarados at this point, and these are the strategies for it. It's just so dumb. It's a free Pokemon that is everything you could ever ask for. It intimidates shuffling. It's bulky, especially, and intimidates shuffling, so it's bulky physically too. It can set up sweep. It has amazing typing. But like the only downside is it sometimes it takes a while to get a water stab move. Whatever. Teach it Secret Power. Teach it Return. Teach it. You can sweep with Tackle and Bite. Like you're fine. Like you're fine. So Swellow was on this list for flying and for normal because I honestly ban. And so here's the thing. S tier is Pokemon that I ban in my runs because I think they're just a little crazy. I haven't done another run of Scarlet Violet in a while, so I haven't really banned Lilligant, but I still might. I usually ban Gyarados because it's just free encounter. I always ban Shedinja because it's just trivializes the game. And Swellow ended up on the list because it's one of the Pokemon that I don't ban, that I still use in my Nuzlocke, so I wanted to rank it. And it's great. It's a great sweeper. Guts Facade and Guts at that early, Guts at whenever you have a Tailo with a really early wing attack is great. And then plus in later games you have like Roost, so you can stick around longer. That's kind of what it is. It's just, hey, I'm gonna sweep. I'm gonna get my Guts. I'm gonna go get poisoned by a Wurmple or burned by a Slugma, and then I'm gonna click Facade over and over again and sweep through the game. And you get this really early, so you can do it for like the entire game. That's what it does, and it does it very well. And Porygon was here because of just the offensive power of like adaptability, Tri-Attack, and adaptability, Hyper Beam. Is nothing takes that. And you have like Shadow Ball for the ghost types, and you have like other coverage like electric types, which can hit like steel types and rock types for neutral. Shadow Ball hits both of those, and steel and later generations and stuff. And you have like Nasty Plot, agility. Really crazy sweeper. But it's like maybe a little slow. Normal isn't the best offensive type. You'd rather do slip perfected damage, but you can still just do it. You can still just do it and get away with it. And finishing off normal were the ones I ban. Chansey and Blissey, I always ban them because they make Nuzlocke not fun. Because as soon as you get one, there's no reason to never use it. There's no reason to not use it against any special attacker ever, because it never dies, and you Toxic Stall them, or even you just like chip away at them with like Serene Grace flamethrowers and get them burned, or Serene Grace ice beams and get them frozen. It's just so dumb and boring and lame. and it's free. It just breaks the game. Any special attacker is over. And the physical attackers, hey, you have Intimidate Shufflers like Gyarados for, so it's just like, you know, and you can Serene Grace burn them with flamethrowers and soft boiled, and you can sweep the Calm Mind. It's so crazy, and honestly, it feels dumb. It just feels dumb to me. It's like, oh, I got a Chansey. Okay, so this entire section of Pokemon that I have to fight is now just over. And honestly, Snorlax is up here too. It does a somewhat similar thing, especially. It doesn't have as reliable recovery, but honestly, just give it like Rest and Sleep Talk. And you have like Curse to set up and sweep. It's just super, super strong. And you have like really good abilities of either like Gluttony for berries, and you have like Pinch Berries, which you get in like every game. Or you have like Thick Fat and just have resistances for no reason. It's amazing pivot Pokemon, amazing offensive Pokemon, and it just makes the game too easy. It just makes the games too easy. Even these like later games with a lot of power creep and stuff, I feel like Snorlax is still just so. It's kind of like mind dumbing to me. That's the thing with these Pokemon. It's like they're not. It's not like intelligent. Like, oh, I want to get these out. I want to get my Como out and get it in the position to set up and then sweep, or I'm gonna have like old reliable Arcanine come in and Intimidate Shuffle or something like that. Like, I guess Swampert's kind of a similar like easy thing to do, but that's why I just don't use starters in my Emerald runs. It's like these ones are just too. They just make it boring. And honestly, Gyarados. Just this entire tier, really. They just kind of make the game boring to me because they just handle everything on their own. And to end it off, Skeledirge is easily amazing. This is one of the best sweepers of ever. Torch Song is crazy. It takes care of even as unevolved like as Fuecoco and Crocolore. It's gonna sweep through the first two gyms, and being an early fire type is just nice. It has a lot of great matchups. And then once you turn into Skeledirge, patch your speed somehow, whether it's Flame Charge or Choice Scarf, or the super easy access you have to changing your IVs and EVs and stuff. And then you just click Torch Song forever, and you start sweeping while dealing damage, and you snowball so hard that you can't be stopped. And eventually, even if something somehow can stop you, you Terra Fire, and then they can't. And you have like Shadow Ball for coverage in your ghost types. So you have immunities and really good defensive typing. It's crazy. And this thing honestly might have dethroned Swampert as the best starter in Nuzlocke history. I'm not sure yet. It's one of these two. I'd have to do more runs. I don't know. There's not like a way to compare these two because I mean they're different games, different types, way different things. But it's crazy. Fuecoco definitely deserves to be an A tier. Not quite game breaking, just because like it's speed. If it was fast, then sure, it's game breaking. If it was fast, like you have to do something to fix its speed, but easily A tier. And the best, the Nuzlocke GOAT, is Gyarados. It's Gyarados because one, he's free. In every Nuzlocke, you get a Gyarados. I can't think of it. Black and White. That's the only game you don't get a Gyarados, so therefore Black and White is the hardest Nuzlocke game because you can't get Gyarados. But you can get in Black and White too. So he's free. He's a free early game guaranteed encounter. And in every single game, all you do is go fish in a town. Just go fish in Twin Leaf Town. Go fish in Pallet Town. Just go fish in a town. Or you can buy one from the Pokemon Center in Fire Red and Leaf Green. You just go fish in a town. You're not even giving up an encounter. Like you're not giving up an encounter, and you're giving up like a water type encounter that you're gonna get a million of later anyways. Level 20, evolution into this thing with amazing typing, amazing stats, the best ability, the best common ability, and Dragon Dance. It just makes the game easy. And I ban it. I ban it when I play my Nuzlocke. I have more fun not using Gyarados. It just makes things too easy. Unless I'm doing like a mono type challenge run, then maybe I'll use Gyarados because I need it for something. Like when I did not mono flying of Emerald, I needed my Gyarados to beat Watson. Funny enough, I needed the quad resistance to beat Gyarados, or to beat the Electric Gym. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this list, guys. Let me know what you think. What Pokemon I might have underrated, what Pokemon I might have overrated. And if you agree that Gyarados is the best Nuzlocke Pokemon ever. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love y'all. I will try to find out what to do with this channel for now. The video uploads will be a little bit, you know, less frequent for just a bit, but don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. Love y'all. Peace.